Have you ever noticed how many people are uncomfortable with emotions? How many times have you been in an emotionally charged situation and surveyed the room to see how others were behaving? Do you find yourself apologizing for displays of emotion like crying? Do you feel uncomfortable receiving compliments? Do you avoid conflict or confrontation? Maybe you're not as comfortable with emotions as you think you are. In this video, we'll talk about signs of emotional discomfort and ways to build your emotional muscles. So be sure to stick around to the end of the video. In chapter 18 of her book Reset, Deborah Fileta tells a story about a pastor who spent most of his life avoiding difficult emotions. You see, he didn't realize that by capping his negative emotions, he was missing out on the positive as well. They traced false beliefs back to a time when he watched his brother get picked on, bullied, and harassed. The downside of suppressing or capping your emotions means that you also miss out on joy, peace, hope, and many other positive emotions. Have you ever noticed how many people are uncomfortable with emotions? How many times have you been in an emotional situation and you took time to look around the room to see how others behave? Most likely in this situation, you would see a variety of behavior that all captured how uncomfortable those people are. Now, we all express our level of discomfort in different ways, so it may not be apparent on the surface. Signs of emotional discomfort. Do you ever find yourself apologizing for emotional displays like crying? Have you ever caught yourself suppressing smiles or laughter when others are sharing difficult things? Do you feel uncomfortable receiving compliments? Do you avoid conflict or confrontation? Does anger seem to be the easiest emotion to express? Do you attempt to distract or numb yourself from unpleasant feelings? Have you ever thought that someone showing emotions is a sign of weakness? Maybe you're not as comfortable with emotions as you think you are. Rewiring our default mode. Our natural tendency as human beings is to avoid uncomfortable things. You can think of this in a few ways. One is it's an act of self-preservation. An example here would be to think of a hot stove. So a hot stove, if you place your hand on it, you're immediately going to jerk your hand away to avoid being burned. Another way to look at this is as patterns reinforced by family or culture. We also have a problem, and that is confusing uncomfortable with harmful. One example would be if you've ever been at a gym and you witness someone performing strength training. They are maybe lifting weights and they have a barbell rested above their chest, and they're doing as many repetitions as possible. And often in the last few seconds or minutes, whoever's spotting them will encourage them to do 5 more or 10 more. And those last 5 or 10 can seem like they take forever. Just because those last 5 or 10 are really a struggle does not make them harmful. You may think of this, maybe you're a runner and you like to run. And that last 5 to 15 minutes of your run can seem just grueling. Maybe you've performed a 30-day challenge in an effort to get a jump start on something, and that last week is just a killer. Much like our physical muscles, our emotional muscles also need discomfort to grow stronger. And we need to realize that feelings are not inherently good or bad. I want to give a personal example because I think it'll add some context here. So I can recall many times I have had to push myself to go to a gathering with friends or family. Leading up to the event, I just struggle. I find every logical reason in my brain to avoid going. I cannot recall one time when I regretted going afterwards. I typically enjoy going once I'm there and would have missed out if I'd given in to my discomfort. Give yourself permission to feel. I want to start off by asking a few questions. How often do you lean into what you or others are feeling? How often are you quick to pull away? If we look at the Bible, we see that Jesus was emotional. He felt deeply. In fact, scholars have identified over 39 emotions that Jesus felt. And these are just the ones that were written down. He gave us permission to be in tune with our feelings. Just some quick examples of the emotions that Jesus felt. Jesus felt joy, John 15:10 through 11. Jesus felt sorrow, Luke 19:41. Jesus felt grief, John 11:35. Jesus felt exhaustion, John 4:6. Jesus felt anger, Matthew 23:33. Jesus felt compassion, Matthew 9:36. And Jesus felt agony, Luke 22:44. The value of feeling deeply. It is crucial that we understand the importance of feeling. We need to allow ourselves to lean into discomfort rather than distracting ourselves or numbing ourselves. This builds our emotional muscles and capacity for richer, positive emotions. The hard feelings are often the catalyst or the pathway to fulfilling feelings like peace, joy, and gratitude. Psalms 30, verse 5 says, "Weeping may last through the night, but joy comes in the morning." Let's recap what we've learned in this video. It's crucial that we remember the importance of feeling the full range of emotions. When we allow ourselves to feel deeply on one side of emotions, it opens us up to feel deeply on the other side as well. On the other side of deep sorrow is deep joy. On the other side of anxiety is a peace that we're all longing for. Verse for reflection. When Jesus saw her weeping and saw the other people wailing with her, a deep anger welled up within him, and he was deeply troubled. "Where have you put him?" he asked them. They told him, "Lord, come and see." Then Jesus wept. John 11:33 through 35 of the NLT.